to the band.
Check. And
Happy birthday!
we're gonna try this one more time. Here we go. Ready? 4, 3, 2. Happy New Year. Hey, everybody.
Happy Kwanzaa.
My name's Ronaldo Wolferman. I'm here with
Dane Holman.
and with
And John Young,
of the,
Disc Jockey News.
and together we are the Three Musketeers.
I like Musketeers better because it just, yeah.
That's like I was telling my friend Goofy. Copyright infringement.
Yeah, there we go.
I better be careful.
YouTube.
I'll get booted off YouTube again.
Yeah.
Again.
So, guys, obviously a huge announcement happened a few days ago.
What?
Lucifer was renewed for season 2 and will be coming out next week. That's the end of the
I'm
show.
excited. I'm excited.
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, the iPhone thing. People even that hate iPhone were watching it just so they could say, Joy did it first. Yeah. And, you know, that's a whole different discussion there. But it goes without saying that there's a lot of big changes. The biggest one, of course, being that the iPhone no longer has a headphone port.
See, I mean, we
For
can
better
talk
or
about all this. This stuff is kind of meaningless. Let's talk about the real important stuff. That Pokemon Go is now going to work on the watch.
Now everybody's going to walk around like...
Whoa. Even more important news is that Nintendo is bringing Mario to the iOS.
So, well, I think that's one of the things that people don't realize that will, you know, as funny those announcements are, it does really have a major impact on the industry because when you think about it, Nintendo was a company that kept saying, we're never going to do mobile, we're never going to do mobile. And then Satoru had passed away, and now the new president's like, yeah, we're absolutely going to do mobile games. It's not going to compete with the 3DS. You know, we can pretty much draw a parallel with that, with the fact that the more and more major players are switching to the iOS. And look, Android people, screw you guys. Nobody wants to develop for Android. Nobody
wants to play with you.
No, nobody wants to develop. Nobody wants to develop for
Too
Android.
many devices to develop for.
Well, you know, that's it. There's way too many devices. And yes, you can say the same thing about iPhone, right? There's a million different types of iPhones now. But they all have a same standard. You know, you could put Android on a freaking crappy phone and then it doesn't work. Oh, well, it doesn't support it. Well, you're running ice cream. You really should be running Android Blue Waffle. Like, this is way too much crap. It's not easy enough. But that being said, I mean, obviously the biggest complaint everybody has had is the missing headphone port. You know, DJs are making the joke that, yay, nobody can come up and be like, can you please thong off my iPhone? No, bitch, you got no headphone port. But, and for those of you tuning in, obviously everybody knows John Young because John's awesome, and he has been recently indicted as a knight by the Queen of England. Sir John Young. There was a parkway named after him in Florida.
There is.
So that's a real thing.
Got that going.
So I got that going for me.
Which is good. And, of course, we have Dane. Now, if you guys are not familiar with Dane from the What Grinds My Jog Wheel show, Dane, first of all, has the world's most freaking epic shirt. Dane, your shirt. Thank you. Dane is also... Dane, what exactly is your job position? I know it's make computers work good, but what is it?
I'm the IT director of insurance conglomerate.
Awesome. And
so I oversee the entire infrastructure design planning.
Which, for those of you guys who don't know what that means, he deals with a lot of crazy computer stuff. And people say, I can't get my computer working. Have you tried turning it on?
To be fair, I don't really deal with the end-user computer stuff much anymore.
No, you get to deal with all the cool insider stuff.
Yeah.
Going to Dell World, hearing, what.
Whoa. Dell EMC World.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Now that it's all official, you can talk about it. But, I mean, obviously, both of you guys, all three of us have been really involved in computers for quite some time. And I feel like every time Apple does this, it's the same thing. People are like, oh, this is ridiculous. And I don't like the fact that they use courage. I'm like, really? You should have just said courage. You should have just said, we're Apple. We can do whatever the hell we want. But
yeah.
Remember when Steve Jobs...
It's like when they got rid of the lightning, or brought the lightning port out and changed the adapter, and everybody freaked out and said, I've bought 30 chargers and 5 cases, and how am I ever going to recover?
Exactly.
But they were changing it for the better.
Well, but let's go
moving forward.
Let's go even further back than that. We have first of all, the main thing is, remember when the floppy disk was a big thing, and then Steve Jobs suddenly said, yeah, no more floppies. Everybody's like, the new iMac does not have a floppy disk. This is an outrage. Okay, I need to transport my 1.44 megabytes of data. How am I going to do that? Apple needs to answer now. This is ridiculous. No one's going to buy any, Apple computers or anything like that. You were there, guys. Do you remember when everybody threw a fit about the floppy disk being canceled out?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody likes to hold on to what they have. People don't like change.
Yeah. And I get it. I have a really nice pair of $1,500, in-ear monitors.
iOmega zip drives.
Huh? Oh, yeah,
iOmega zip drives.
The zip drives. or even better, do you remember when Steve Jobs bashed on Adobe? Big time. Mm-hmm. He completely bashed on them, called them lazy developers. Why am I censoring myself? He called them lazy-ass developers. What happened to Flash? Immediately after that, Google jumped on train and said, yeah, why are we supporting Flash? Now nobody uses Flash anymore. But what happened is, and I don't care about what people think about Apple. Yes, they did not invent several of the things that they do. Siri is not innovative because they bought Siri. Xerox is the one that we owe everything to right now. Mm-hmm. But what Apple does better than anybody else is they say this is the new standard, and that's what happened. Thunderbolt was created with Apple and Intel. And suddenly everybody's like, oh, wait a second, this is really cool. It's a little port that goes straight to your processor pretty much. Well, that was the original concept. And it was going to be, I don't know if you guys remember, they were supposed to be where, well, you can add another CPU or another processor. We're like, damn. No, all we get is just a bunch of freaking hard drives and monitors, and that's about all you can have with a Thunderbolt. But either way, they got rid of the FireWire port, which they also helped develop. They got rid of, what's it called, the SCSI port, because I remember when Apple said, no more SCSI, no more parallel. Everybody's like, oh, this is ridiculous. Apple's going down. But how important is a headphone jack, really?
It's really not.
I mean, at least for an yes, if we're queuing up music and all that, you gotta have headphones. But did everybody suddenly forget how lo-fi a 3.5 millimeter jack really is?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're using archaic technology that, Apple sadly is trying to move it forward, and everyone's like, no. That should have been gone years ago, honestly. I'm surprised it's taking this long.
I mean, I have some gripes about it. I think the biggest gripe that I have is that, well, you have a plug that you can put in for your headphones. Okay, what if I want to charge my phone at the same time?
They do have an adapter for that.
Yes, a $50 freaking adapter.
Is it $50? $50
freaking dollars for that adapter. I'm like, no, that is ridiculous, okay?
Yeah.
That adapter for $50 better come with a little hole cut out in the middle if you get my drift.
You know what it is? They're trying to get you to buy their worst invention yet.
Oh, yeah, the AirPods. John, did you see these AirPod things?
Yes, I did.
What do you think about them?
It's like any of the others. A lot of the stuff I'm not overly excited until I actually get to touch them, feel them, and listen to them, and then I'll be like, "Oh my God, how did I live without these? Give me 4 every color."
Well, here's the thing that I don't get. Yes, the concept is very interesting. The charging case is pretty cool. It didn't show it in the video, but I believe they do come with like this little rubber piece so you can actually, connect them together so they don't fall off you. But why are they made of plastic?
Mm-hmm.
Like, guys,
especially when you're paying that much money.
Yeah, $160. I don't like the original iPod buds, and they actually sound really damn good. But they're freaking plastic. They hurt my head after a while.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the advantage I think that we as DJs can see and how it's really going to change our industry is when Apple does this, they do it for one reason, and that's to shaft every company into creating something new. You know, they got rid of the floppy disk drive, and then Steve Jobs like, yeah, listen, all floppy drives need to go. That's it. We're not supporting any more of that. Zip drives, whatever. The Jazz drives.
Oh my God, you're really jumping there.
Or I don't know if you guys remember the disastrous super floppy, 144 megabytes.
Hey.
Yeah, that.
You leave it alone.
But what happened is, you know, he basically does. He did the whole, well, okay, that's it. The floppy drive's dead. Everybody's like, no, it's not. I'm using it. 5 years later, floppy? What is this floppy? So what I'm excited about is, are we going to see people actually create high fidelity audio gear for the iPhone now that they're being forced to use the lightning jack?
Or wireless technology.
Or wireless technology.
And that's the other one. So what's the problem with wireless right now? That everybody's on the same
quality.
That's it. Yeah, you have quality, you know, and even Bluetooth can only do so much, which is why BLE is amazing. If you guys are, for those of you watching that are not familiar with BLE, Bluetooth Low Energy, that's what the iWatch or the Apple Watch runs on and everything else. And it really does take very little energy, but you get a much better quality signal out of it. And I don't know if that's what the Wii U uses. I know it's Bluetooth something. But if you guys are not familiar with the Wii U, their center controller has a screen and it runs at 60 frames per second, which is crazy. I mean, think about it. You're running wireless video over Bluetooth, and Bluetooth was not that, you know, wasn't that strong before. So now I'm kind of hoping, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, that we're going to see better high fidelity devices, and we're going to see more advancements in technology for wireless streaming.
Very much so.
But the other thing is, I kind of hope that in time with this going on, that we're going to, I mean, we're already seeing iPad controllers and everything else, but does this mean that now if we're being forced to forego the 3.5 millimeter jack, and then if people start making better audio gear for the iPhone, does this mean that eventually the iPhone or the iPad could be something you could legitimately DJ with? Could we see a Serato for the iPad?
I think definitely with the processing power that you're now holding in your pockets, it's definitely a possibility.
So actually, you know what? Let's pull it up here. What is the iPad Pro specs?
The iPad Pro specs are better than some computers were that were released about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's crazy, the capability, and I think you hit on something when you're talking about the kind of the next generation of music transmission. There's an interesting interview that was done by an Apple, and I don't know which person they were talking to, that said that the iPhone 7 is a stopgap phone. This isn't the next generation. That this is the step before they introduce some new technology in the wireless realm. And Dane, maybe you know more about this. You've heard more about this, but they said that if they would have introduced the lack of the jack and this new technology, that it would have freaked too many people out, and they wouldn't have continued that sales rolling of the iPhone.
Yeah.
So we make a little change now, and then that will set people up for the big change coming in the next generation of iPhone.
What Apple's really good about is not just, they perfect a lot of things and they use other people's ideas and patents and create some good technology. But most of all, they feed evolution and new technology. They encourage and basically create an industry where people want to go now create something. And all these, it also helps support a lot of these smaller companies that come out of nowhere that, oh, hey, you know what? There's a problem I see. I can fix that and do it better and come up with a better solution. And it's good for everyone.
Yeah. And, you know, the other interesting thing is people look at the pricing. I mean, my goodness, we are now at a point that nobody's flinching about phone prices anymore. It's freaking $900 for the high-end one.
Yeah.
If you told me 4 years ago I was paying $900 on a phone, I'd be like, you're effing kidding me.
Yeah,
I know.
So let's go back to, can the iPad or the iPhone run DJ software, right? So the iPad Pro, which by the way, I have the iPad Pro. It absolutely is amazing. I know it's got the A9X chip with the M9 coprocessor, but I do not have the freaking size of the specs. Hold on, let's see. Nope, it does not tell you what the actual the speed is. Actually, Apple's really secret about that, aren't they?
Yeah, they don't share some information that well when it comes to that, and that's what I hear from my college students, and they let me know and say, hey, this processor was in the Samsung last year.
Yeah.
And now it's finally in Apple.
Well, one of the big rumors, I don't know if many people have heard, but one of the things I've been hearing coming about with Apple is we're going to see them in probably the next year start shifting over to Intel chips.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
See, I've heard the other way around. I've heard that with them making so many of their own chips that we're even going to see their MacBooks running off.
Yeah, there's talk of that too, but I think we're going to see a lot of crossover going towards Intel.
Intel definitely needs to do something to kind of step it up in there because, okay, so if you're looking at the A9X, right? Let me switch here so you guys can see. The A9X has the 64-bit architecture. I believe it's a quad-core processor. And 2.16 to 2.26 gigahertz.
Mm-hmm.
It can definitely run DJ software.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. So, the question is, okay, well, do we criticize a DJ if you see them DJing with an iPad? I mean, we're not watching them just DJ with a freaking USB stick.
Mm-hmm.
Why not an iPad? I mean, would you jump on it, or would you be like, no, laptop specifically for me?
I think it goes back to the way of the CDs. I don't know about you guys, but I was one of those people that I DJ'd for so many years on CDs that there was something about that physical feel of reaching my library and I could pull out a CD to get inspired, or I knew exactly where something was. I fought against going digital for the longest time.
Yeah.
And once I finally did and got comfortable with it, it was the best decision I ever made. And now I can't imagine going back to using CDs. And I think you're looking kind of the same thing. You're so used to using a computer now. Once you got people actually start making that jump to a tablet or whatever it may be, I think you'll see a big conversion.
I think what's stopping, let's say, for example, Virtual DJ or Serato actually do anything outside of the box. Excuse me. If Virtual DJ or Tractor were to release it on the iPad, the only limiting thing is space. 256 gigs is not enough. And forget the whole FLAC or FLAC or uncompressed versus 320. Because I'm going to be honest with you. Why are these DJs making a fit about uncompressed music when they're coming out of some crappy Behringer speaker? Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, you cannot tell the difference between 320 and uncompressed. And any DJ that tells me that is lying.
Well, I think one thing for sure that's going to start shifting that too, as we see in the industry and everything, is we've been doing a lot of flash-based technologies, been using MLC and SLC, and those have been standard, whether it's you have fast read or fast write. Mm-hmm. Now with TLC coming out, I don't know if you know much about TLC, but
I have no idea on that.
TLC is breaking some amazing barriers. We're seeing, what is it? Actually, let me pull it up here. I have to get the exact numbers. I don't want to misquote this here.
And again, for those guys who don't know, Dane is a genius when it comes to computers. He knows how to unplug them and plug them back in with the greatest of ease.
He knows which end of the cord to put where. So, I mean, he just got that.
So I got that going for me.
Which is good.
Which is good. Sounds good, man.
See, YouTube is doing this again. It shows 7 viewers, and then I'm on analytics, and it says 20. I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah, I can't find the exact numbers right now, but basically the space that a TLC drive can handle now is doubling almost every few months. And we're already seeing 30 terabyte drives in development.
Wow.
Now, right now, a lot of that TLC technology is in the enterprise, and you're seeing that going in a lot of SANs and major storage devices. But you're going to start seeing a lot of that technology shifting into mobile devices and that. And we're going to get to a point where it's you think back, 10 years ago with, I have an 80 gig drive. I'm set for life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now you carry that in your pocket.
Yeah, now we're saying, 2 terabytes isn't enough. It used to be, this is way too much. 128 kilobytes is all you're ever going to need. Now we're I need all the terabytes. All of them.
Yeah, I remember the first computer I had grown up, we didn't even have a hard drive in it. You know, but you know that's the way of technology. I think we're with a lot of this TLC technology and a lot of these things that Stanford and universities like that are coming up with. We're going to see a lot more getting crammed in there, where you could put your entire library on an iPad and have everything you need on an iPad and have it connected wirelessly to your controller. That hey, I'm going to go introduce Brian Groom. I'm going to take that off the controller and walk with it and. Still be mixing.
It's going to come down to one thing happening. Obviously, the iPad doesn't have enough memory, and it never will have enough memory for what we need, really. And I say never because I think we're demanding more memory than the iPad was really designed for. The iPad was not designed for DJs. But all it's going to take is one developer. Are you listening to me in music? Or Alan Heath. It's going to take one developer to say, hold on a second, iOS allows external devices via Thunderbolt. So why couldn't you have your iPad that hooks into your mixer, obviously works a sound card, which we can currently do that, but the mixer has a hard drive slot built in to
that
access
would be
all
nice.
The music. So you need that, and obviously you need somebody, Pioneer, are you paying attention? You need somebody to develop software like Rekordbox, which looks a lot like Virtual DJ. You got to have somebody to really put those two together. And I don't think we can really criticize somebody for using iPads anymore. Like, I don't know if you guys watch Master of the Mix, but I would say like 3 years ago that somebody just came in DJing on iPads, and granted, he was horrible, but people were knocking on him before he even fired it up. But I'm like, can we really, knock on somebody for mixing with an iPad if we're sticking a USB stick into a virtual jog wheel of a Pioneer and that's called DJing? Like, if that's fine, then what's the difference between a physical jog wheel and one on a touchscreen that's a higher res touchscreen than those jog wheels are to begin with? So that's the thing. I'm kind of hoping that with this new iPhone release, it kind of kicks people into gear. It's like, okay, now we need to create some good, digital audio devices to work on the iPhone. Will this open stuff up for us?
But one thing I wanted to say, jumping off, iPads definitely. I think the way things are going with it, but it's not just Apple doing it either. I mean, I've got this tablet right here. It's a tablet laptop. And I could do all of my DJing right on this. I can store my entire library on it. So the technology's there.
Yeah.
It's definitely nothing new. It's just who's going to be the first to jump and invest and develop that next step to take us there.
There is, let me see. Was it Qbert? Who the heck was it? Hold on. Give me a second. I'm going to pull this up here. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you guys can look. There was somebody that built a DJ mixer with a computer built in. Oh, it's Thug Rumble.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, so if you guys are not familiar with the Thug Rumble, this is what I'm talking about. But I want to see this with the iPad built in. And I say in music because in music did a controller, where you can slap the iPad in. And that was pretty freaking cool. But now, what is stopping from a real legit mixer? I don't know if I can show it there. Is it? Yeah, it's showing on there. What is stopping us from doing a real legit mixer with an iPad dock built in? Why aren't we having that? Is it because the manufacturers don't know how to do it? I doubt that. I mean, we're looking at it directly in front of us. Or is it because DJs are pushing back against any new kind of technology?
I think it's the perception that if I'm using an iPad or a phone for my music source, that I'm less of a DJ. I think you've got a level of that pride.
Secondly, I think some manufacturers, the 1 year at NAMM, just before the Lightning connection, maybe the year, 18 months before Lightning connection was released, there's a lot of companies that were releasing iPad-connected controlling devices based on that, was a 30-pin, the older connection. And a lot of them got kind of hosed on it because by the time their products were ready to ship, Lightning was there. And now my controller, it's like, okay, I've got these 4 containers of controllers that just shipped over from China, and Apple just changed. What am I going to do with them? So I think there's a little hesitancy there because of that.
Yep, you're absolutely right, and I think that might be holding it too because now they're wondering, okay, does this mean that they're going to eventually dump it for USB-C? And boy, I'm so pissed about USB-C. But are they going to eventually dump the Lightning controller? Phil Schiller made it very clear Lightning controller is here to stay. But for how long? I mean, the 30-pin connector we knew was a bad idea just from looking at it. That thing was a terrible idea. USB-C I'm angry about because the new MacBook, not the Pro, but the MacBook, one freaking port. So now if I want to charge and use a external hard drive and a second monitor, I have like a whole spider web of dongles coming out. I don't like that.
See what I like is like what Dell's doing with a lot of theirs is they're using that USB-C for docking technology. Powering everything's running through one connector.
And that would be great if Apple would freaking go back to docks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I know.
I don't think they ever will, though.
No, and I mean OWC makes some killer docks, but I want to see like a dock that I can actually, put. And again, if they did, I don't know if they have yet or not. But let me look here. So for those of you guys that are not familiar, the last MacBook incarnation, not the MacBook Pro, but the last MacBook incarnation has only one USB-C port. That's your charging port. So if you want to plug anything in, you're going to have to buy multiple cables, which is stupid and ridiculous. Yeah, actually, they do have a USB-C 10-port dock. Wow, holy crap, this thing... Hold on, let me pull it up here. See, something like this, right?
We'll have to take a little break while Arnaldo makes an order here quick, and then we'll be back with the rest of the show. Holy cow, it's a surprise! Where's the card?
I don't know if, I guess you guys can't really see. Sorry, John. But the dock sits on the back of the MacBook. Okay, but if you're DJing with that, you're going to have to hide that inside your coffin, which is fine for the most part. But if you don't have enough room, because apparently, what's it called? Case manufacturers don't freaking understand that we have wireless microphones that we need to put underneath the damn controller. So I don't know if there was enough room for that. I want to see something similar to, what Dell's back in the day would do, where you could just literally put the computer inside a bigger dock and now you have a massive computer. I'm still running a 2012. In the 2012, I stick with that because, first of all, that i7 is faster than any i7 that MacBook has released. I mean, it's hot. I don't have any hair anywhere on my legs near my lap because it singed it off. But, I mean, I'm all about let's grasp the new technology, but I feel that it's changing so fast and it's not at the same time. Like you said, John, they keep changing the freaking connector.
Yeah.
So you can't really have a device that will have legacy support. And then you have like processors. We've been at 2.16 or 2.6 for the longest time.
Oh, yeah.
What happened? How did we go from, we went from 400 megahertz to like 3 gigs and just like that. And I understand we have more cores and all that, but we've been stuck in quad and 8-core for what, 3 years, 4 years now?
Yeah, not much has moved in that world for a while. Because look at, I just bought a Mac Pro, or the MacBook Pro, and the 2013 specs, the early 2014 is the same as today.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, sure, I'll buy one from 2 years ago and save about $2,000.
I mean, Dane, you do a lot of conventions where they talk about all that. Why is that?
Haven't really talked about much. I think a lot of it is a lot of the research and development right now is going into better performance out of what's there. It's better power consumption, better performance with the same chips and same speeds, being able to get more out of it, and multi-threading and all that. Because you have to think when a lot of the first hyper-threading processors and multi-core processors came out, they weren't really taking advantage of it. One of the first hyper-threading Pentium 4s I had, it was a great processor, but nothing took advantage of it. So there's been a lot more focus in how can we take advantage of it, how can we reduce power consumption and make better use of this with low heat distribution. I think we're going to hit a point here, though, in the next few years, because the tech industry right now is right like this. I think we're about ready to see that big jump incline going up again. And you're going to see a lot of new developments and stuff coming out. But another part of that being, when it comes to AMD and Intel, you have to think AMD and Intel were like this for a long time.
Yeah.
And then Intel went like this, and AMD's kind of stayed flat. And so there's not really that competition driving innovation.
But the question is it because Intel's a better product or Intel locked in better deals?
Better market share, better partnerships.
Because heck, I remember for the longest time, power for the dollar, AMD won every time.
Mm-hmm.
I remember at the time when NVIDIA was a pain where the sun doesn't shine, ATI had the better cards.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, well, NVIDIA's a better card. No, NVIDIA may not be the better card. We'll never know because nobody wants to natively support ATI like they do NVIDIA.
Partnerships and marketing.
That's it. That's what it comes down to. So, the other interesting thing about the keynote is they did not mention speed at all. At all. They said it's a new A10X. Did you notice they're now talking about how many, was it transistors? No, what is the number they gave out?
Billions of transistors.
Yeah, I'm like, wait. And that was something Johnny, my youngest, we were watching, and we were like, okay, wait a second. Since when do they talk about how many transistors there are? And he's like, well, they mentioned that for the Xbox. This thing's got like, so-and-so times over the Xbox. I'm like, wait, at what point do we start counting transitions? Did I like phase out of computers for that long that suddenly we're counting transistors? Or transitions, sorry. Wow, I'm a DJ. Transistors. I mean, when do we start doing that? Did you guys notice that they just started bragging about how many transistors they cram in one chip?
It's the way that Apple does their presentations and everything.
But it isn't just Apple. Xbox did it too.
Isn't. But I will say though, the one thing that drove me nuts, and again, it's marketing, but in their presentation they talked about it's the greatest iPhone yet.
Oh my God. I love that.
It's our fastest iPhone yet.
Yeah.
It's our brightest iPhone yet. Well, no shit.
It's your latest yet.
I really hope you're not developing something that was worse than the last product. You don't have to keep saying
Tim Cook
that.
would come out and he goes, and I want to show you the new iPhone 7. This is not as good as the iPhone 6.
Applause sign.
I want it, man. Take this piece of crap away.
We decided to take the iPhone 4 and we've made it thinner. We've made it slower.
And it's black.
Now
I mean, like,
available in slightly darker gray.
but this, and I've written so many countless articles about this. Apple's reality distortion feel is like nobody's business. And Gordon Ramsay tries to copy that too when he talks about his food, but you can really tell that he's trying to do the reality distortion feel. I think Steve Jobs is a little bit better at that.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Jobs never said, this is the best iPhone yet. He would say, this is the biggest technological leap since. And he would specifically use those words carefully. And I'm not trying to knock on Tim Cook, but let's face it, he's no Steve Jobs.
No.
Their customer service just isn't even there the way it used to. But yeah, I did catch that too. It's like, this is our best iPhone yet. Well,
and I must have counted like 10 times they said stuff like
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And now, for the first time ever, it'll be even faster than the last iPhone.
But it wasn't even the first time because they accidentally tweeted it out. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Like, they tweeted the image of the iPhone 7, like, whoops, that wasn't supposed to come out. But they do that on purpose. Like,
It was on their site.
Remember when the iPhone 4 came out and it was lost at a bar?
That's one of the things a lot of people don't realize with what Apple does. And Apple is extremely smart with their marketing. They're very smart with their marketing dollars. They don't spend a lot in marketing because they make a product secretive and information leaks. Mm-hmm. If Apple didn't want that information out there, it would never be out there.
No, they would have Hillary didn't kill somebody. Oh, I'm sorry, we just went political. No. Had to happen. No, but it is. I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point that Apple and Kanye West have the same marketing team because people out there still believe the whole Taylor Swift thing was fake. Or was real, excuse me.
Yeah.
Like, no. She damn well knew he was going to get up and say Beyonce had the best video ever. Because suddenly people are talking about Taylor Swift, who never knew who the hell she was. And Kanye album sales went up. And again, all the Android fans are like, we did it first. Yeah, but you didn't do it right.
Right.
I mean, yes, Android had copy and pasting first, but it was terrible.
Samsung did it first. Yes, but if you open up and try and service one of your devices, there's ribbon cables everywhere, and they catch fire.
Yeah. Did you see the FAA is now banning Galaxy 7s? Like,
Yeah.
you messed up when the Federal Aviation Administration or whatever says, yeah, you're not turning
Leave your
devices.
phone. As someone, I've repaired tons of phones. I've tore them down and everything. Samsung's just one of those companies. Yeah, they may be the first to get to market with something, but the actual hardware, the way it's actually laid out and designed in the phone, it's just slapped together.
So, but the question is Samsung really there first because they're more innovative? Or is it because Samsung has all the freaking plans for the iPhone because they make their damn screens?
They make the chips and the screens.
Yeah, that's right, and the chips. Like, I never got this. Like, listen, I know you're my biggest competitor. Here's all the stuff we're going to be doing.
Well,
don't copy it.
Remember during the lawsuit a few years ago when the settlement came out, Apple and Samsung agreed basically not to sue each other anymore.
Yeah,
and in turn, they were going to start sharing information and technology.
Yeah,
people seem to forget about that agreement they met. They're two companies that are working together. They're sharing, helping each other.
Well, I mean, let's face it. This was all Apple's fault. First of all, why would you put Eric Schmidt on your board of directors and tell him all about the iPhone? Oh, you promised not to make a competitor? No, I won't make a competitor. I mean, Google's slogan is "Do no evil," and they're the most evilest company. Like, yeah,
that's ABC.
Yeah, people don't realize we are not Google's customers. We are their product.
They sell our data.
Yeah, and the people that use the people using Google the most are the ones complaining about the NSA having all our stuff. Like, guys, you can't post that while you're checking in on Google Plus. Well, when that was a thing, I mean, it's odd. But going back to the whole iPhone announcement, I'm interested to see what happens, because forget from the end user standpoint. I am pissed from the end user standpoint. I have my beautiful IEMs. I have my Bose freaking headphones. Dude, I love these Bose headphones, right? Because they don't give me ear fatigue. Now I'm stuck with, now I'm going to have to go like to Monoprice and buy the little, there's a 3.5 millimeter jack to Bluetooth adapter so I can make these Bluetooth compatible.
Why don't you just use the jack that comes with the phone?
Because, okay, that's one more thing I have to freaking keep in my pocket.
Why don't you just keep it on your headphone cord?
Because that's common sense. Shut the hell up. No, because honestly...
Don't give me logic, damn it. I
don't want logic. I want to be mad. Loud noises. I don't know what we're arguing about.
The case won't hold it. I mean, it's freaking packed enough as it is. But then what happens if... I mean, look, I don't care what anybody says. Freaking iPhone cables break apart pretty damn easily, which is why I use Anchor products. Those Anchor cables, you could like rig with those Anchor cables and they'll still work. But iPhone cables bust easily. How long until I'm in the middle of, listening to music and, it doesn't work anymore. And their solution is use Bluetooth. That's great. Are you going to give me $160 for two little earbuds that I'm going to lose? Like, my wallet is this size, and I lost my wallet. Well, somebody stole it, but still, I mean, I lost my freaking wallet. I lost my car keys. Hell, we lose a vehicle. I mean, understand that. You guys have left out of a grocery store, right? Hey, where the hell's my car? You just lost a $20,000 machine. Like, if we lose a car, and a big vehicle, how are we going to keep track of these tiny little buds that go in our ear? I don't think they thought that through very well.
Because Apple has a great business plan where they say, "Oh, hey, open up your wallet. Oh, hey, actually, you know what? Just give me it all.
Yeah, I'll just start saying make a yearly payment to us, $1,000 a year. Well, I'll be happy."
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't get it, Apple. I don't get it. I also feel, I don't know if you guys have had to deal with Apple lately. Their customer service is not the same anymore. Like, I've just had nonstop bad experiences. Right now I'm dealing with this issue that I switched from AT&T to Sprint because AT&T can suck my left, right, and middle nut at this point. And I'll let you figure out what I just said there.
I was visualizing and got a little scared.
They were supposed to
Visualizing, great.
this phone, and now basically AT&T outright said, "Well, you left our service, so we're not going to lock your phone. We're going to hold it hostage." And Apple, like, I get it. That doesn't involve Apple because it's AT&T, but Apple says, "Well, we're just the middleman." No, bitches, you're Apple. You made these damn phones. Don't tell me you're the middleman. Apple 5 years ago would have been yelling at AT&T. This guy, it took me forever to get him just to call AT&T. So I don't get on the ball.
When they had an agreement directly with AT&T. But now they've got multiple carriers they're in agreement with, and they don't want to piss them off.
No, but I've had...
each one of them bringing money for them.
Because the carrier is going to tell Apple, we're not going to carry your phone anymore.
Exactly.
They're not going to tell Apple that because they are friggin' Apple. And look, Android numbers, I know they're through the roof, right? As far as, how many Android phones, but that's because people are having to buy multiple Android phones because the first one doesn't work. But there's multiple Android phones by all these different companies. In reality, the iPhone is still the best-selling smartphone out there, brand-wise. But it's not like they're going to tell Apple, oh, we're not going to carry anymore. The customer service part just isn't there. And I feel that, this is something that we're all going to take a great business lesson from, that it doesn't matter how big and rich you are. If you have poor customer service, you're going to cave down. And Apple... So go ahead.
To jump in there, one thing I wanted to mention about that whole thing, and it goes back to the carriers and part of the carrier's business plan. And I think this is part of the agreement they must have with Apple. But, I work with Verizon Direct a lot. We do literally hundreds of phones a year with them. What they'll try and do is they'll say, oh, well, you left that carrier. They haven't unlocked it yet. But we'll trade it in and we'll give you a new one under contract.
Yeah, well,
because now they're getting that phone back, which they can unlock instantly and refurb. But they're getting you to buy another one.
Yeah, and
and that's their goal.
Well, I mean, with Sprint, they were working their best to unlock it, but Sprint's like, we can't unlock it. It has to be AT&T. And, for those of you guys who are not familiar with the unlocking process, your IMEI, your phone's identification number, has to go to a whitelist server on Apple servers. When it goes to activate, oh, no, this is tied to AT&T. You can't put a Sprint card on it. So when Apple says, oh, there's nothing we can do, bullshit. It's your freaking servers. Come on.
But if Verizon buys that phone from you or trades it in from you, they'll turn around and go, hey, Apple, either refurbish this or unlock it.
Yeah. So that's when Apple's telling
and it's not. There's nothing stopping it.
It's like, no, we can't do it. But either way, I mean, going back to this, DJ-wise, I'm hoping that getting rid of that 3.5 millimeter cable will really help out in creating new DJ-related technologies out of this wonderful jack that supposedly you can do so much with other than charge your damn phone. We'll see. The other thing that I'm going to find funny is you are going to find somebody's like, oh, can I plug my iPhone in? Sorry, you don't have a headphone jack. Oh, I do. I got the little adapter. Now you're going to see people carrying the adapters. Matter of fact, I'm going to buy a crap load of those cables from China. I'm just going to start selling them outside clubs.
Well, the way I figure is you give it a couple of months and you're going to see a lot of Anchor and them selling cheaper versions of those.
Yeah, for sure. Anchor and Belkin. And then I'm sure somebody will buy some cheap one from Walgreens. But the other interesting thing, and it really affects our business, one of the things that we've all talked about this, you got to have good photos for, your...
Oh, my God, yes.
It used to be you needed a DSLR. I don't know if you guys have seen the photos the iPhone 7 takes, but holy crap. And if you Android users, even right into you have more megapixels, I will punch you in the nads, in the clavicle.
Hey, Shanny's not here.
No, I mean, the low light on these phones are incredible. 1.8 aperture lens.
That was my big question when they started introducing all. I'm like, yes, that's great. It's got a dual camera. It's got the multiple lenses. But how is it doing low light? Once I saw it, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Like you said, you don't really need to go buy a DSLR anymore to start getting good photos.
No, it's crazy. And it's got the image stabilization. So if you're Michael J. Foxing your video, it'll be a little bit steadier. Wow, that's offensive.
Yeah, that was.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah, he went there.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting banned everywhere by YouTube.
YouTube's already to slap you down.
And forum owners.
We need a rant about that in a second. But yeah, so I mean, it's weird. Like, do you need a DSLR? I mean, obviously, I'm gonna find out. I still prefer having a DSLR. I still think you're gonna get some image quality, but they're really, really blurring that. I had one event where I forgot. Well, I didn't forget. I had my camera. I just did not have the SD card in it. So I just took the photos with my phone. I edited. I'm like, damn, this looks as good as my DSLR does at this point. Why am I still carrying my DSLR? And it's interesting because we are doing a beauty pageant. We're doing another beauty pageant. We were just talking about it. She goes, yeah, I'm banning all phones because, if they have their phones, why would they get the professional photographer photos? And I was going to say, well, they're still better quality. I'm like, well, not anymore. Like, are they?
They're planned out shots by professional people that know what they're doing.
Absolutely. But when you have these are girls that are posing on stage and you can sit there and frame your photo and everything, and even there's even apps that tell you if you're doing a 2/3 rule properly.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, my freaking DSLR can't do that. So
Yeah. Well, and then a lot of them too. You can change your focal point after taking the picture.
yeah, which is
Like,
freaking crazy.
what DSLR, without spending a ton of money, does that?
Yeah. The other thing that I would be interested in seeing with DJ technology, I have it over here, but like American Audio has the 10MXR BT. It's just a regular mixer with Bluetooth built in, so you can connect your phone to it. I don't want to say why can't I see a higher end mixer, because those are two totally different markets. But why couldn't we see like a Serato based mixer with the Bluetooth built in? So, everybody's system crashes at some point, especially if you run on a computer. It's going to crash at some point. So wouldn't it be great if we could just have our phone ready to go? Since there is no more headphone jack, why isn't there a Bluetooth device for more mixers? And American Audio is really ahead of the curve here. Unfortunately, that one doesn't support the time code like their 14MXR does. But I want to see an actual mixer that supports digital vinyl, a time code that will have the Bluetooth built in. I mean, am I the only one, or is that a technology you guys would use? Have your phone docked and ready to go?
Oh, it'd definitely be nice.
Yeah. The question gets back to is, what is that next generation of technology that they're afraid of, or they're concerned about, and why they haven't gone full bore into that Bluetooth world? Is it? I can't imagine it's because of sound quality being that poor in the Bluetooth audio. I think that there must be enough behind the scenes talk of the next generation of wireless audio. That's why manufacturers haven't jumped on that Bluetooth bandwagon, because it only would make sense to have a Bluetooth channel on a big, the new Denon or any of those new boards. Why isn't it there? It would be great to have it.
Absolutely. And I think from, just the iPhone perspective alone, it's using like its own individual chip. It's not quite Bluetooth, but it's using Bluetooth, but it isn't. It's weird. Mm-hmm. But then what happens if you have like 20 people in one location with those headbuds or those little pods? Is that going to be an issue? I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I totally get where Apple's coming from. It's an archaic format. We need to get out of the 3.5 millimeter jack. I get that. Whether it's necessary or not, I don't know. But you know what? They did it with the floppy disk, obviously. They did.
Sometimes it's just best to rip the Band-Aid off. And Apple's been good through their history about doing that. But
the FCC keeps selling every available frequency. What are we going to do when 2.4 and 5.8 are filled out?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's something they've ever talked about. I mean, has anybody done any webinars on what's the next technology for routers? What do you do when you're past that range?
Not much. I mean, we'll see. I'm sure there's development out there what the next thing is, but
yeah. Well, that's it. The next development is like, we're making it stronger. No, I don't want you to make it stronger. I don't want.
I don't need my Wi-Fi to go 10 miles away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember when everybody was?
And you have to work on the other side of that brick wall.
Yeah, remember when everybody was freaking out about running out of IP addresses? Oh, we need to do IPv6. Yeah, that was it.
And yet nobody's on IPv6 yet.
Not a damn person that I've seen. Maybe in Japan. I don't know, but
there are a couple of server farms around that are, but for the most part,
I'm more worried about what happens when we run out of space. And as DJs, we need to be concerned, because you always get some asshole that has their headphones on in the middle of a wedding or whatever, and that's fine. But what happens if those headphones collide with your wireless DMX or your wireless microphone, right? You've got the Line 6 or the Audio-Technica System 10 Pros to run on 2.4. What happens when that starts colliding with that?
Mm-hmm.
It's a scary thing, and as DJs and event production specialists, we need to be scared because we're running out of space.
Well, and then on top of that, you have old frequencies that used to use 700 megahertz spectrum, for example. There are still people out there using, even though they shouldn't be, and it's illegal, still using old devices in those frequency ranges.
We call those Canadians.
That are not authorized. And what happens when that starts colliding?
Yep. Well,
with, important traffic.
And I made the Canadian joke, but I mean, obviously it's legal in Canada, but if you're right on the border, it's going to interfere with the U.S. signal, which is interesting that that's okay.
Yeah.
But then what happens with, I think 600 still obviously allowed. I have a 600 or 560, whatever, 610. That's still legal. And I have a mic, I like my 3000 and it's under legal spectrum. But now the FCC wants to sell that off too.
Yeah, they're talking about selling that now too.
So what are we going to do? I mean, that's a legitimate concern. One that could literally, I don't want to sound like, end of the world guy, but This could literally put us back to being fully wired.
Mhm.
We could lose wireless technology the way it's going if everybody sticks to the same thing.
Well, I think too, you're seeing a lot more stuff actually go over, wireless N and stuff, where a lot of that traffic's now being routed through there.
So how do we break it down? How do we break down wireless N and the difference between that and BNG? Because it's not exactly an easy way to explain it, and I'm not even sure I completely understand all of that.
That would be a couple episodes all on its own.
Yeah, but it's still on the same frequency range, is it not?
Yeah.
So so even if B and G are on different ones, I mean, it's still. I mean, from what I thought the difference between B, G, and N were the speeds, right? So
Protocols.
If we still run out, we run out. I mean, you guys were there for DJ Expo. We could barely get anything connected because it was like 150 different hotspots connected.
Yeah.
We had a hard time, John. I don't know if you had a hard time connecting to anything.
Oh yeah, not inside. Going outside there.
Wait, they had internet in New Jersey?
Yeah, they did. It was
Yeah, you had to go over to the Tropicana.
Oh, is that when I was able to download that image that took a half hour?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I'm back in the 90s again.
Yeah, that was horrible.
So I just, okay, great. We're focusing on getting rid of a headphone jack and making your hard drive speeds faster. And how is that all going to matter when we're eventually not going to be able to even connect online anymore because everybody and their mother is on 2.4? That was the most disappointing thing. The fact that these AirPods are on 2.4. I'm like, Apple, are you freaking kidding me right now? And
Well, I think we can all agree that those AirPods were just a joke in general. That is probably one of their worst products in a while.
Absolutely. I don't know. So that being said, I guess that is it. Unless anybody has any questions that they would like to chime in. What did I miss about the pizza box? The Pizza Hut box is the first step. Was he talking about, somebody wrote about a Pizza Hut box. Isn't there like a pizza? Yeah, there's like a Pizza Hut box that has a built-in DJ thing. John.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Bluetooth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. The Pizza Hut box has Bluetooth. What
Yes.
is it? I'm so confused.
Yeah, it was Pizza Hut is going to be running a campaign where the pizza box actually is a turntable, and the cardboard has printed circuits on it, and you can open it up, hook it up to your phone, and hit play, hit pause, cue, whatever. And
I think that's freaking awesome.
it is.
Is it MIDI compatible? Could I DJ?
A lot of new bedroom DJs.
So real quick, I want to pull this. I actually want to pull up a couple of memes because I think not only that this kind of shows where we're at right now, but I'm trying to find the other one, which is freaking great because there's a couple that was making fun of the iPod that were pretty much dead on, and then there was one that I think shows Apple's ultimate way of thinking. My favorite story that I know about Apple is when Steve Jobs introduced the iPad to the board of directors. Because remember, the iPad was announced before the iPhone. I don't know if you guys remember that, or at least internally, right? They wanted to do the iPad, then the iPhone came out, and they're like, "But Steve, it doesn't have a keyboard, or tactile keyboard, whatever. What are users gonna do?" And he's like, "They're gonna learn to like it." And that has been Apple's thing for the longest time.
That's always been Apple's thing.
And ultimately, that kind of proves the customer isn't always right. But I got to share these real quick, and I don't know if you guys.
Oh God, I see which one you're talking about already.
Yeah, hold on, let me log in. Oh, damn it!
But no, Apple's been doing that since the very beginning, and
This is how you plug your iPhone into your computer now.
Connect the serial and connect it to a PS2 port, and
the other one that I like. Let me pull this up here.
Oh, I like that.
Only 90s kids will remember. I mean, it's scary, but we are at a new dawn. There is going to be a time when people are going to be like, your phone had a port in it?
Ring, sleeve, what was that?
Yeah.
And the thing is, the people make the joke, or not the joke, but I mean, people don't realize that the biggest problem with your headphones is that they do get snagged and they do get ripped off, and then your phone comes flying out. You're like, oh, my phone broke. But I'm going to miss that little port doohickey. And then what happens if Apple did listen to everybody that complained? You've got this.
Yep.
There you go. The new iPhone. It's got a hand strap, shatterproof acrylic screen protector. It's got a ViewMaster virtual reality slot.
Connection to Android.
Yeah, it's got a little switch so you can run between Windows, Android. You got a flip out keyboard. Newton Scott. Oh God, do you remember the Newton?
Oh, Newton. My God.
Guitar jack. You definitely got to have the guitar jack.
Oh, yeah.
Floppy drive, AC power, a CD burner, 3.5mm headphone jack, and
Run Skullball.
yeah, ear trumpet jack, MagSafe 2, a punch card reader, dual XLR. You've got 8-track player, rotary controls, an antenna, a kickstand, RCA jacks. So, I mean, now that I think kind of put things in perspective, that what happens if Apple did listen, everybody? I mean, ultimately, Apple, whether you like them or not, they are changing how we, do these things. But
Yeah.
I just want the DJ community to get with the times. And I don't mean DJs, I mean developers or manufacturers.
Yeah.
They're not doing much. John, I think it was you that, on one of your shows you had mentioned that, like, at NAMM and all that, like, the innovation isn't there anymore. We're seeing
No, it hasn't. It hasn't been.
It's been years.
I mean, okay,
It's really-
I'll give it to Serato. The Serato Roland thing, that's pretty
That is
cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah. That's probably. I mean, then we can look back at the Denon MCX 8000 that came out. There's nothing really that's earth-shattering different technology. They've upgraded a lot of existing concepts, but there isn't anything that's like, oh my God, that's brand new. It's earth-shattering. I've got to have that because it's something completely different. You don't have
Slap some gloss on it and just continue putting it out.
No.
I mean, and comparing, from some of their products a couple of years ago, some of the newer products are maybe the audio is cleaner, it's got more output, or it's got this or that, but you haven't seen that. And that Roland Serato thing is intriguing because that's the closest, because now Roland has, they moved into that world. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. And that's the thing. DJs like to pick on companies like Newmark or American Audio because they're not, club standards, but those companies were the ones that were bringing stuff out first. I mean, let's not forget who put, LCD screens directly into a controller first. That was Newmark. When the Envy came out, people were like, oh, I don't need to put my laptop away. Now suddenly everybody's doing that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So I'm hoping that, let's get rid of the headphone jack. Let's see what comes out of it. But John, your pessimist self pretty much nailed it on the head. They're eventually going to change this and screw everything over, so people are hesitant to do anything with it.
I think so. I think that's going to happen unless that new technology, the new wireless thing, comes in and people can jump on it so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, then what happens when we run out? I would not want my main computer to be wirelessly connected to my mixer. That would scare the living daylights out of me.
For sure.
It'll be interesting. So, all right, for those of you that tuned in, thank you all so much. I have Dane right there, John, and for those of you that did not tune into the last show, shame on you. It was great hearing me swear at this whole streaming thing that we had going on. And John,
You sounded like Ken.
but John basically had you said retina separation?
Yep, I've got a couple of tears with the retina in the back of my eye, and I'm going to be going in for surgery Monday morning at 7:15. So Monday night shows will still be going on. Jason Jones is going to be filling in. They'll do a great job. I'll be watching with one eye.
So you're going to be like, "Are you ready, kids?"
Oh.
If you could do me a favor, John. If you could.
Well, good luck, John. I went under the laser a few months ago, and
please
wasn't that bad.
Keep us, in touch. Let us know what's going on. But if you could, maybe do an intro for your next disc jockey news.
Wow.
Like, are you ready, DJs? And have Jason Jones go, I
can't hear you.
Who lives under the console?
Yeah, with USB-C. Not the iPhone. No. Super expensive and no standards. Not the iPhone, unless it's in the which, by the way, that's the only thing. Before we log off, what's going to happen with the European standards or Commission of Standards? Because they're still throwing a fit about the Thunderbolt cable. Does that mean they're going to make iPhone do a USB-C adapter again? And if so, great. Maybe that takes care of that, the fear that John brought in, that, if at least USB-C is a standard for the next 2 years until USB-D comes out. Because if you guys don't know, Europe is not happy with Apple using exclusive cables. They make Apple ship all their damn phones with a little adapter. I don't know if you knew that, John.
No, I hadn't heard anything.
Yeah, that little adapter like that big that
You have to use a standardized format. You cannot use a specialty cable.
So the adapter goes from what is it? The little micro USB to
Lightning to micro USB or whatever.
yeah.
I've got
mini USB.
Yeah, the other way around. So
Mini.
the iPhone's still the same, but you have to have an adapter that comes with it to run on USB. So it's interesting. Like,
Interesting.
Isn't that the same damn thing? But either way. All right. So again, guys, for those of you that are watching, well, I guess John, you're not streaming this from yours. I have no idea.
Actually, we popped it up on Facebook just to.
Cool. So make sure you guys follow my channel, DJ Crazy Ace and John Young at this Jockey News. And Dane will eventually have his own YouTube channel. Dane,
when he gets to be a big boy, he'll have his own channel.
I keep telling Dane he needs to do one on computing for DJ.
Yeah.
Because
there's questions, lots of questions out there.
Absolutely. Like, can I plug this into here?
Well, if you try hard enough.
Oh, sorry.
And Dane, I hear there's a market for people who are trying to stream and they just have a hell of a time getting it.
Yeah. And the ones that when they're trying to type just goes da, 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 da.
And it happened right after I said, "Oh, my MacBook can handle anything." Like, well, not that apparently.
Scrape that computer off the floor. Let's get going.
All right, so those of you guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. On behalf of myself, John Young, and Dane Holman, have a good night. And God bless, unless you're not a Christian, then, Satan bless, or Buddha bless, or Spaghetti Monster bless, or Fish bless.
Spaghetti Monster.
Pastafarian. Whatever.
Pastafarians.
And we just offended several.
Yeah, you just